Good evening. I am the Battle Pirates Professor, and welcome to Hang Out in the Crib with the Battle Pirates Crib crew, a great group of men. I believe that intro was appreciated last week, so I thought I'd use it again. I stole it from the Pat McAfee show. I'll just say that. But anyway, I am joined by Hefe.
Howdy, folks.
And Daniel.
Hi, everyone.
And a Mad Tree Proper Session Ale.
Wow, so, we got a new sponsor. Okay, very good.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, PSA.
There we go. It's also a public service announcement. Very nice.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. So tonight we're going to talk about some of the little changes in the game, and mostly talk about the raid and the new prizes. So we'll. I got to present, and we'll hop right in.
Okay.
As soon as my computer gets its act together. There we go. Alrighty.
There we go.
So let's start with the Muddle Glut fixes. Some people say that they could have just reduced splash, but that was not the fix they chose. They, instead of nerfing the ships, they decided to buff some of the defensive options. So they expanded the chromium overlay, concussive dampening, and explosive overlays to affect buildings. Those are tacticals that you can put on labs and
each one of them has, or your outposts, like the chromium overlay, which is the most important at this point, gives you 50% protection for the outpost, naval lab, and advanced lab, and it's 20% for other things. And I don't know as much about the other ones, but
it's
overlay.
Yeah, the other two are the same, except instead of corrosive, it's concussive and explosive damage that those protect against. But they're otherwise the same. So yeah, chromium is the key for the muddle missiles.
Okay.
And then increase sonar range for the UTT transformer to 390. So that means you might be able to detect.
Yeah, you should be able to detect the a Muddle Glut. It's going to be at 105. You can detect a ghost crawler from even further out. So yeah, if properly placed in your base, you should be able to detect Muddle Glut prior to it getting in range. And Leonard Skinner's asking how many tiles. That's basically going to be from Muddle Glut. It's going to be a touch over 5 tiles. Because this is assuming that you have a cloak efficiency of 75, which is the max hitting a player's base. Even though I've seen some mods post, if you have a cloak efficiency of 105, it's going to work better, but I don't know enough about that little detail.
It's not supposed to. It is supposed to max out at 75% when you're hitting a player base. Now, if you're open water, fleet to fleet, then the higher sonar is supposed to help. Higher cloak should take effect.
Yeah. And the reason it's different for the Ghost Crawler and the Gluttony is the fact that part of the calculation as far as sonar and cloak efficiency deals with the bare footprint of the sub, and they vary. And the one for the Ghost Crawler is much larger than that for the Gluttony. And this is basically the range that the sub can be detected without any sonar, but it's part of the calculation that basically, when I said 390 becomes 105 with 75% cloak efficiency for the gluttony, it's part of that whole.
So that's a 25 visibility. So you take the 390, you add the 25, and then you divide by 4 because 75%.
Okay.
So there you go.
There you go. Math live.
Yeah, live math, and I did it right because I didn't need to whip out my cell phone calculator. Yeah, so I mean, visibility range is one of those hidden stats on subholes that would be really nice to see, but we don't see it. But it's there.
Yeah. Yep. One of those ones you have to rely on data mining. I don't know why they keep on doing that, but
yeah. All right, and then the last change is to alter splash dispersion to also provide splash damage reduction for buildings. So that's just another tactical field that you can use.
Yeah, and this only appears to work with the ones that you can mount on your buildings. It doesn't appear to work with the splash dispersion that you might get in like a flagship, like the alpha.
Oh, yeah.
At least as far as I know, I haven't been hit, but I don't see a change in the stats in the one I have that says that it impacts anything besides ships. So,
Okay.
Oh well, I was hoping.
All right.
And somebody can test it out if they want. And there's no regular bug fixes this week because everything's going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So maybe before we move on, actually, we're not going to talk about it, or we don't have any slides about it on the show, but they did make some ads to the shipyard, so you can get a code to share, which is nice, and you can do a multi-place of weapons, and that's nice.
They
So that's
basically
cool.
huggified our shipyard.
Yeah. The feature that I'd like that's still missing, and actually I asked for when they previewed this in the town hall, is that you can't get a code off of ships in your dock. So I would like to see that as well. You can import into your shipyard and then get the code, but only if your shipyard's free. So, bleh.
Okay.
All right, one more change. They rebalanced the 113s. So these targets are worth 109 million points. Occasionally they seem to be worth 145, but I think was just an error. But anyway, they rebalanced. So out of that 109 million, 73 million are gained from this internal turret cluster right here, which obviously is not very, I'll call it balanced, but it does prevent people from, I'll say efficiently doing the Forsaken mission by just rimming the outsides of these.
Yeah. It's 2/3 of the points are right there. So, like I said in the pre-show, they've opened the market again for mercs because it's very pretty much any ship with a 98 range and some mortars behind it can go in and aim at one of those Drac mortars from the outside and basically destroy the whole thing for 73 million points.
Yep.
I'm not sure if that was their intention, but that's what they did.
Oh, wait a minute. You can hit that from the outside?
Yeah.
Huh.
But it already has to be unshrouded.
Oh, right. So you have to. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Shane wanted us to remind everybody the dock increased by 10 to 130.
Yes. So no crying about that, but Forsaken mission change. So after the raid, we're going to see new lower level targets. I guess we'll see how hard those are. And then at the beginning of next month, the old lower level targets will be gone. Not much more to say here.
No. This is probably the last we'll see.
Right.
That slide.
And here's Greta with her coup or something. Hopefully you guys are all reading the fascinating stories. They're all right.
Yeah, I heard her breasts are going to get larger. Is that what I read?
I did not read that.
Oh,
Maybe that's why she's
okay.
staging her
Maybe
coup.
I was
She wants to
reading.
get the money for enhancement.
Yeah. I heard that he was going to, somehow cybergenically change her or something of that nature. So I wasn't sure. That's I was just reading through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mike seems to agree with me, so I guess
Whatever.
When you said
Whatever.
that everyone was reading the stories, I was thinking of the stories of her chase against Moose and Squirrel.
Yes. She had quite the accent. Yes.
Moose and squirrel. I will get you.
Yes.
All right. So targets. This is pretty much the same as last month, right?
Yeah. The only change I really had to make was they added a little text that says the level 100 from May. So it should be the previous target. And they added icebreaker fleets into the suggested fleets for tier 7.
How about that?
Mhm.
Well, I think Holst was getting pretty good with icebreakers against these tough targets, right?
Yeah. He's I'm not sure if it was worth the time. I'm not sure if he can still do it on his current connection.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. The thing they did do to the points, I guess they upped the tier 7 points by a bit.
Yeah, both tier 7 and tier 4.
Okay.
They added, I think, about 20 to tier 4, and they added 1.1 million to tier 7.
Okay.
So
Blitz targets.
same old story. I don't even bother to do the campaign again.
Well,
Because if you're still doing the campaign targets at this point along the way,
You're in trouble.
yeah.
will the targets be more difficult this time around? Or
We're theorizing they're going to be the same, but I guess we don't know for sure.
Well, with the amount of points that we're being asked to get, I would hope not.
yeah, I was thinking that.
So I don't know, but in theory, for everything that we've seen in the briefing and whatnot, makes us to believe that they should be the same.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk Phoenix. So the Phoenix is a Reaver Hull. We've seen it in some closed previews, and it's I'll say I've been there, and it's pretty fun to drive. So it's a fast missile hull with really good turn. And what you see from the stats, it's got penetrating buffs, some anti-missile buffs, penetrating and corrosive defense, continuing the trend of these hulls being, I'll say, designed for very specifically for the target type and no others. Some okay deflection, not very high compared to some other stuff we've seen recently. Here's that speed and turn.
Yeah, the speed and turn is interesting. We usually don't see that ratio.
Yeah, and especially when you think about the turn. Is that Holst joining it? No. Okay. Especially when you see the stacking effect, right? Turn speed 50%. So you get a fleet of 5 of these, and then it's kind of ridiculous. But nobody minds.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason not to put something like Magnus Drive or Engine 3 would be the additional evade that Speed System 5 gives you.
Yeah.
Because, you don't really need your turn speed to be higher than your combat speed, do you?
I don't know.
Unless you want to do little pirouettes and things of that nature. But
Well, you actually do against these targets, but Yeah. So anyway, good speed, good turn. Again, with the stacking bonus, you want to try and get as many hulls in the water as you can. And then it's got this little point defense gun, 50 range, 2,000 damage. So it hits drones that come up close, which you will get.
Yeah, and it has the other thing is it has built-in retargeting, so you may not have to add anything if some of the specials that you think you might want don't have retargeting. It's not necessary. But I don't know that you would pick one of those. Also, what was the other thing I wanted to? You were talking about some of those closed previews were semi-open.
Oh, okay.
The stacking stun resistance is probably another important thing to mention.
Yeah, that's really important. My build in the preview, I used agility 4, and so there are some targets that overload and stun you, and so it's really great when you get unstunned before your enemies get unstunned, because actually it's not just stunning you as an enemy; it stuns everything. So yeah, the stun resistance is good. And I guess before, when you're talking about the pirouetting, right? There's these like big Hulk. Yeah, and so they have UAVs, and what happens is the UAVs are just do a huge amount of damage, but they don't have very good range. So, so what happens is you damage them, and then they overload and go real fast. And then if they catch up and get in UAV launch range, you lose about half your health. So it's really good to be able to get in range, fire a salvo, and then turn and run before they overload and catch up to you. So it's actually really important to maintain that turn speed.
Yeah. I was just thinking that as far as the combat, both the Magnus and the Engine 3 have higher combat speed boosts than the Speed System 5. So that's why I guess it'll be a matter of figuring it out once we actually see it, to figure out if, that, couple of combat speed would make a difference relative to adding the turn speed. And, I guess we'll see once that happens, but be something to look for, I guess.
Yeah. So then the worst part of this hull, as we were talking about in the pre-show, is that if you kit this out with all the missiles and a little bit of countermeasures, which you'll want to do, and a reasonable build along with the charged armors, you will be looking at just under a 20-day build. So that's getting back to really unacceptable build times. I think when build times are hitting 20 days, that's when people really scream loudest, and Kixxa had to, adjust, and now they're creeping back up that way.
Yeah, and especially if you're talking about 80 days to build 4, and if we're probably going to add another 5 days or whatnot onto once we get
the flagship.
Yep. So we're looking at about 105 days for a 90-day raid cycle. Yeah, it stops making as much sense.
Yep. And I think go ahead, Daniel.
And it wouldn't make it wouldn't make sense. Like, it would make more sense if it wasn't for the fact that you needed like the whole fleet. You need 5 because of the special abilities. That's where you get all your resistance.
Yeah, I really hate these stacking auras that they seem to be in love with these days. That's
and it's the opposite. It's the opposite of the PvP, where they're trying to. Well, some of them. Well, I guess the 7 deadly. No, not the 7 deadly.
The ores.
The ores. They want you to
mix and match.
The toolbox approach. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the latest one, yeah. The Survivor does have an all around conqueror, but the rest of them, like the seven deadly sins, didn't have that.
Yeah. And the other point you made, Daniel, is that these build times have been creeping up. Kind of, I'll call it in this tier, right?
Hmm.
That it's taking longer to build a Phoenix than it took to build Monolith,
Yeah.
and Monoliths are taking longer than Cannoneers did. So they're even upping the build times, kind of within a tier, and it's just, I think it sucks. And again, 20 days is just getting back to ridiculous.
Yeah, but we also don't know what they're going to do, because what they're going to do with the TLCs as far as build tokens and whatnot. But I do understand. I mean, if you look at it and you go, okay, it's 20 days for each one of them, it's disheartening. It's like, well, screw this.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they'll bring out a TLC at their whim when they see things aren't working out the way they want as far as player reaction, and throw out, 30 days of build tokens at you and things of that nature, which you can't really predict.
Right.
And people like to plan ahead, especially people that are going to coin stuff. They want to plan ahead and, try to make a wise investment with their money.
Well, right, and it's not even a matter of planning ahead. It's like, they'll release a bunch of VXP tokens right after VXP weekend. Well, if you coined a bunch of repairs to get VXP, you just feel stupid, right? You feel like you got ripped off,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not even that you should have planned ahead. It's just that they instant what you paid for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody that did, everybody, especially people that were coining, because you didn't really need the. It was a while till you actually needed the monolith. You could get
Yeah.
away with Punishers and Citadels, and then we started seeing, oh, okay, and the Gridiron. All of a sudden, okay, you coined that, you didn't really need it, and now we got all these tokens to do it for free, and it leaves the player in a position of anxiety of, okay, well, I'm going to wait till the build tokens come out. Okay, maybe they're not going to come out. And it just leaves people, they don't know the direction forward, because there's no, the whip is, things like that aren't there
Yeah.
for the players to understand how to move forward in this game. And they seem to be rather fluid and how they release things. So you're never quite certain how certain things are going to be released in certain orders and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the Skyfire carrier coming right at some point,
Yeah.
and that's maybe another question mark. Is when's that going to come out? We figure it'll probably be a TLC sometime before the, not by tomorrow, but before the next raid. So what's the build time going to be like on that? And are they going to release any tokens? And so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So who knows? All right, enough whining.
Have you seen in the preview does the Phoenix actually need the charged armors?
So
Or can it
Or
just
does it need
benefits
everything?
it benefits
or-
from charged armors.
Or does it benefit more from the stun armors or no?
No. If you can put agility on there, you're pretty good on the stun.
Okay, so like the agilities, the limited agilities.
Well, I was using limited agility, but even if you don't have that, right, agility 3 is not too bad.
Okay, I was just because it's been basically a pretty close, semi-closed server. There has been some streaming from it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. So yeah,
okay.
I'm just trying to think about what worked, and I didn't have a whole lot of time, especially the second time around, on that. But yeah, the charge armors were helping a lot. And yeah, I think the stun, you were good enough with agility. I would definitely do charged over stun. All right. Talon missile, heavy missile, but a lot of damage. This is more than double a Scoria, which does a lot of damage per hit. And then it's got the 76 range, so it's the same range as any missile worth using these days. But 13-hour build time, and you put a bunch of these on a ship, and we already talked about how that really adds up. Carbon fiber casing. This is a nice special, actually, because before the best special to buff missile damage was it Hunter or Strike Warheads or whatever, the thing that gave 55% pen and 55% corrosive damage, concussive. Yeah, so this one gives 60% damage and then 35% reload. So again, this is really nice. And the other special was kind of a long build too, so this is good.
Mm-hmm.
I also like this on mega hulls if you're using missiles in any of your modules. Again, this is a nice bump. I always look for anything that increases reload when you're fitting out a mega hull module because you don't get rank.
Yeah, and I'm surprised with the carbon fiber it doesn't increase projectile speed.
Yep.
Or projectile coolness because it looks cool.
Well, I'm just thinking the carbon fiber is going to lower the weight, so move a little faster. Okay.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Well, they say the reducing the weight and thickness includes a larger payload.
Oh, is this another one of those common commercials? Never mind. Go ahead. Move ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
And then Justice. So this tier 6 defender hull, blah, blah, blah. It's got these things called thorns, which strike back when it gets hit, but it does not get well explained.
No.
The thing that they point out is it's got really big corrosive deflection. So again, probably really good against muddle gluts. Just remember, you're going to need to see them. And it's got the 90 thermal range.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have to hit them. So it's kind of tuned for ballistics, and those aren't going to hit underwater. So you might want to.
No.
What?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that too quickly. I'm going to go off on that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, all right. Anyway, so you got ballistics bonuses, you got anti-missile, anti-mortar bonuses, splash bonus. And then you've got these like overload that buff your thorns. And then you've got this duplicate. So if you want to build a whole bunch of these, again, it stacks and buffs your ballistic damage and your thorns. And then duplicate aura. So then also you get a nerfs enemy splash. Oh, this is interesting. There's another. This is, I guess, another way to hit or tune down muddle gluts, right?
Yeah.
Because
if
they come in and start trying to hit this justice, right, then they splash less.
Yeah.
Against everything else.
Yeah, you would want to make the Justice the front ship against muddle gluts. That would be the first one that they would encounter because of the issue that we've currently seen with people with the Harlock Alpha Behemoths. They're using your Harlock Alpha Behemoth in order to splash out the rest of your base. So if this has a range of 125, any muddle gluts that are within that range, it would reduce their splash by 25%.
Yep.
So, put it at the front. Don't hold it at the back. So.
Yep.
This
All
is
right.
more of a defensive one in some ways, and it does have some anti-sub killing properties, even as a ballistic.
It does. It does.
Does
Its penetrative deflection is low, so you probably
well,
prep it out with liberators, especially with the new missile.
yeah. Well, but if you also think that at that point, if you set your base up properly, you're already bubbled at this point.
Ah, yeah.
So it's it's I think it's probably going to end up being a good tool. And the plus 50 splash, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. The berserk duration, I think, is the. Did you go back one slide? I forget what the.
Oh, it's right here. 20 seconds.
Yeah, no, but I forget the name of what they called this. Oh, they didn't put it in this description. Was it threat? There was another word that they used.
Really, they're trying to be acronym cute.
Well, I forget what it was. It was in the original description it's in the forum, but I took it out because I thought this was newer stuff. Because as we move on, we'll find out that some of this stuff does not reflect what was released in Doom Rooster's post. But basically, I think this berserk occurs when one of your defender ships is killed.
Oh, that was nice of them to say that.
Yeah, well, this whole blueprint is a mess, but because we don't even have any idea how much damage the Thorn does. In the preview server, it was doing 50 base damage, but now that information is no longer on the blueprint. Even though the blueprint's plenty long, yeah, it's a bit of a mess. So
Yep.
I think we explained it last time in the
we
last
did,
show.
but yeah, the last show we explained it, but we don't know what they've changed because they've changed some of this stuff fairly significantly. The Saga's Punisher has been changed significantly, and and then you see the difference between the original description that we got of the Penance Cannon was an accuracy-based weapon that had a slowdown effect.
Yeah.
And that's not appearing here anywhere.
Oh yeah. So is the slowdown effect gone?
It was never in any of the blueprints. It was just in the description.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing that I wanted to bring up is if you look under the attacked towards the bottom, you'll see submerged damage.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So
That's something.
yeah, because you have some submerged damage with splash, and then you have the plus 50 splash that's inherent to the hull. So it could do a fairly good job against the motogluts. And if you see the range, it's longer. It's longer than 100. It's like 102.5. Once you equip any of the specials, because it has a built-in 50. I think it's 55%.
On the
ballistic
Justice?
range.
Yeah, how about that? 55%.
Yeah.
That's higher than anything we've seen before. That's worth noting.
Yeah, so it has 105 times 50, so it's I guess 102.5.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that's pretty cool for the Pence cannon.
Yes.
And then the augmented ballistic, we mentioned this before.
Yeah.
Accuracy, range, and splash, obviously good with the Pence cannon.
Mhm.
And
Well,
yeah,
not
you
accuracy. It's not accuracy. The range and the splash. The accuracy is probably intended for the survivor.
oh,
Because this
yeah.
plus 19% weapon weight is really low relative to anything else that increases your ballistic range by 50.
Oh,
All the
yeah.
All the
Yeah.
other ones are 55%. So this is pretty huge for, ballistic conquerors. I mean, you might even, toss it on your malice. And
Yeah. All right. And I guess it's kind of interesting, right? If you mix, like on ironclads. Well, I guess you can't use this on ironclads because I like to mix the Millenniums and the Mausers on my ironclads. I wonder if you could do something similar, mix aimed and splash weaponry on a Conqueror. You know, maybe some hammer cannons along with the.
Well, the hammer cannons are very similar to these. Go back to the
Yeah, you're right.
pennants,
That's probably
to the
not good. I don't
pennants.
know. I'm just spitballing.
Yeah, because you see, he has the 4 times or 4 times the ship damage that it does building and wall damage.
Right, and the hammers are also good against ships, so you need something, I don't know, like Mausers, which are also splash. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, this stacks with drum reloader and HVR.
Oh, wow. That can really bump things up.
Mhm.
Okay. Then we've got Visago's Pride.
Mm-hmm.
And so a Pride, and it's got this flagship effect, which bumps up your penetrative radioactive deflection, bumps up your corrosive damage by a huge amount, but does reduce your reload time. But I'll take that trade for that much damage.
Yeah, I assume this is part of the Moto Glut mitigation. Is the fact that they increased the damage but lowered the reload, because it was different in the preview server because it did both, and so because this will give you a higher base damage. I guess it was part of their balancing that they did. But this ship
Okay.
is pretty much, I think, going to be, if you want to run prides on anybody's base that has the Chromium overlay, you're going to need this because you're not going to get through the walls with the old prides if you were able to before. But now, walls and buildings are going to have, a lot of them are going to have that, 20 to 50% increase in corrosive resistance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think you're going to need this bad boy if you want to keep on hitting 53s with prides.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting is because it's a flagship, like an infinite range flagship effect, you could just build this Pride empty and then run your other 4. Because you don't usually stack up Prides anyway.
Yeah, I didn't put the build time, but I think it's a little bit above 10 days.
Yeah. Boo.
No.
Charged armor, corrosive. I think we're familiar enough with charged armor by now.
Mm-hmm.
And it works like the others. Pretty lightweight, adds no repair time, has this corrosive armor pool, adds deflection, adds defense. Useful stuff.
Yeah, very useful.
Yeah. Notice it is limited in hull classes, though.
Yeah, the previous ones had three available. This one is dropped down to 2.
I guess because the assault is the only, call it PvE class that the target deals corrosive.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Because like missile armor, you get 2 kinds of, right? You get assault and garrison targets for penetrative damage, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, prizes. You ready to plant your butt in front of the computer for the next 6 days? Because there's going to be a lot of points. 140 million for core prizes. If you want all 10 charged armors of the new corrosive, that's 120 million. Visago's Pride, 60 million. So you're at 320 right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guess I think they listened to the player community, because everybody in the player community said we are not paying enough for charged armors.
Yeah.
And I really would like you to increase the price of charged armors.
Yep.
And they listened, and I heard it loud and clear. People on the show, people everywhere, where they thought the 10 million per panel.
It was so cheap. They felt like they were stealing from Kixeye.
Yeah, they didn't feel like it was special enough. They wanted to get something name brand. Like they were getting the generic charged armor. Now we're getting up and above that. So yeah,
Right.
Mhm.
Right. None of this Kirkland brand armor. We want the good stuff.
Yeah. Well, the Kirkland vodka is supposed to be really good. It's supposed
You
to
know,
be Kettle
I
One. You know. I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
just ran out of vodka. I was making some Moscow meals the other night.
I see.
Anyway, yeah. So okay, and if you want more full armor, which you do, if you haven't banked up from last time, which I think I suggested, um, then those are 9 million each.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get to that. We have about 300 pages of
I know.
prizes. Okay.
I know. I just couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
So again, this is a 6-day raid, so you'll have more time to get all these points and get all these other goodies. Icebreaker's really expensive compared to monoliths. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah. Apollo's a really expensive relative to monoliths. What's up with that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Harlock's Island Card. Oh my god. I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me. Besides, they want to give it away. I mean, a monolith is 3 million. A cannoneer is 9.
Yeah, who's going to buy an icebreaker for 12 million
I
at
mean,
this point?
yeah. I mean, who's going to buy a Gridiron's monolith for 12 million? I mean, I don't understand
Yeah.
this pricing structure. I mean, maybe they're going to do that thing where they're going to have, certain ones half price for a couple of days.
They usually announce that with the raid list, with the prize list.
Yeah, but maybe it'll be like a blue light special, and our screen will start flashing. Tell you it's cheaper now.
I guess so. So anyway, if you are looking for something to do the Forsaken mission, I would go Zelos, Empyrean, and MX Prime. Right, because you can get those 3 hulls for 9.5 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to be easier to drive than monoliths.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't built that hull, built that fleet, but I have built, the Zealous, and the monoliths are a pain to drive. I mean, I was, quite disappointed that this is the last raid of the cycle, and they still haven't fixed it.
Yeah. I can't imagine anyone earning 1.25 million if they haven't passed enough of the Forsaken mission to earn the blueprint for the Citadel.
Yeah. And the one that's missing in this room is the Harlock fleet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that missing? Excellent point.
Yeah. And then
All
the
right.
Hellwraith is 6 million, and the Monolith is 3. I don't, I'm not. Are they aiming at collectors? But these have to be fairly new players that are just collectors. I don't know. It's a little. The price list is a little.
If they wanted collectors, they should have brought the Zoe's Rhino or something that hasn't been out for a while.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Zoe's Apollo. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, if you can't get the new stuff, Zoe's Apollo is pretty good, although it's long build.
And how much you wait? And we're gonna. Well, I guess if you can't get all the points to get the Phoenix.
Right. If you think you're in that boat, and maybe you've even got Apollos, earning and building a Zoe might be something. I mean, you're probably going to be limited to B sets, but it might be something.
I'm
There's
happy.
a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff on this list that I own but I've never built.
I'm happy that they brought up back the Phantom Hellwraith and the Harlock Tideseeker again, for those that don't have it.
Yeah.
But 9 million seems expensive. But oh well.
You remember Harlock's Tideseeker lets you see invisible subs on the map, so that's also nice to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was fairly easy to get it. I own 2 blueprints for it, but I've only built 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't build a second.
Yeah.
All right. PvP halls. Pride for 9 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lower tier, Ferox Fury for 6.
Yeah, how much was that last time? Was it 60?
Maybe. I didn't get it last time, so maybe I'll pick this up for 6 million.
Yeah, but
as a collector.
It got the biggest nerf when they added that they changed the chromium overlay.
Yeah.
Because that main bonus was all the corrosion damage it was doing with the aura that surrounded it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever actually hit with it. So yeah, I might not build it. Might not buy it. I got better things to do with 6 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else here of note?
The Valiant still seems to do pretty well
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
at 3 million. That's not a bad price.
It's got no thermal.
Yeah.
What's that, Daniel?
The Vanquisher's decent.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that does have thermal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these two Defender hulls, the Valiant and the Vanquisher for 5 million combined. If you got the extra points and you don't have something better in your base, those might be fairly good pickups.
Yep. And I think of the tier 5, if I had to pick only one of these, I would pick the Spite. If you just want to get into the base hitting game.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of these 4? Revenge, Vendetta, Fury, Spite?
Yeah, I'm surprised the Malice isn't in here, but
I think go Spite.
Yeah, I'll probably go Spite.
Yeah.
And the Retribution, they have the okay.
Oh, they have the Zoe, but not the regular one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they were afraid to list too many things. Oh, never mind.
Let's go down these one by one. Let's not.
And what order are they in? I guess release. Yeah, I guess release time when they were released. Yeah, I guess it's chronological.
I don't know.
The only thing that it's chronological is what it is. Okay.
I mean, here's some of the charged armors.
Yep.
Agility 3, I mentioned. If you can't get the limited, Agility 4. Notice the Agility 4 is cheaper, but it's limited, so you want like a whole fleet of these, 5 of these.
Yeah, and the 5 is your max on that.
Yeah.
You can only get 5, and you can get
Gale.
if you can get 3s. I think you can get 10 of, but surprisingly, there's no Gale 1s or 2s available.
Yeah.
Even though I got a ton of them, 1s and 2s, I don't have as many 3s available.
Okay.
But these were 5 million last raid, and the raid before, and they were in that limited. You had to get them in the first 2 days, and they were 5 million at that point. So this is value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The ST armor.
Oh yeah, that's another one that could be important.
Mm-hmm. If I didn't have like 70 of them that I'm not using at the moment.
I mean, I guess when you're faced with a prize list like this, just keep your builds in mind and buy stuff that you think you're going to use. Is I guess the only advice I can really give.
Yeah, it's just sort of difficult because of the at least closed, like semi-closed nature of the preview server as far as what the next target is going to look like. It could be a lot of things, because I saw some streaming of some of them, but it's like, how are you supposed to know what's going to look useful in the future?
Yeah.
Especially, as we move on and the pages and pages of this.
I would say we get all the charged armors because you're gonna need the M for the next raid cycle, right? And then the X is 7.5 million right now. But
it's only useful in the FM at this point, right?
But it's the FM, so it's useful.
But the skirmish raid is concussive and explosive. So you're gonna want this X armor for the next raid cycle after the next raid cycle.
Oh, that's interesting. And I wonder if they'll knock the price back up.
Yep. They'll probably put the price back up at that time.
Huh. Well, that's yeah. I don't know if I'd stock up now. I probably got enough other stuff to stock up on, but that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
All right. Because I mean, I've got some spare M's because I was getting ready for assault, but I don't think I have any spare X's. All right. More components. Hydro resistors for 2 mil. I guess you'll notice the torpedo towers don't fire torpedoes anymore. They're really just sonar towers. So maybe hydro resistors aren't so useful like they used to be. Scoria is pretty good if you can't. The new one. Scatter guns, just in case you want to arm something up to kill gluttons. I like the Calamity myself because it does concussive instead of corrosive damage.
Yeah, it doesn't mix the two. Yeah. Narrowed firing aperture. It's a little expensive though, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I'm using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What am I putting it on now? Oh, sloths.
Yeah.
And I use it on gluttonies.
Yeah, because it allows you to stack splash with other,
Yeah.
really
that's
up your
pretty
splash.
Good. And then the ruin is the main base hitting weapon for the Pride. All right.
Wait. Doesn't the ruin mostly do building damage? I mean, I'm sorry, ship damage?
No. Is that the raise?
Oh, that's the raise.
raise.
I'm sorry. The raise is. I'm sorry. I confused the two. Yeah, but that's pretty expensive considering how long that's.
Yeah, that's like. Yeah.
Another thing that could be said about this is those that don't have that don't get the tokens in the Forsaken mission. If you need any of these things to get to that location to that point, get them because it'll get you there faster. No.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, right, it gets you. You spend 800,000 points or something, and that gets you a two-day token 1 week faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of those in here, aren't there? Or...
I probably, but I couldn't tell you which precisely. I mean, I think Fire Twisters. These I think are on the list. I'm sure some of the scatter guns, some of these things are.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah.
I know the overlays are there.
Oh, so this page. Shirts and specials.
Yep. I like the Drac coaxial.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, relative to what else? Well, if you don't have, now that Splash Dispersion 2 has got a little bump to it, seems a little expensive, but it seems like it could be helpful.
Yep. Then Anti-Rocketeer, I still haven't built the one I've earned. But, if people are pinching your alpha to get their mudgluts in, it might be useful. And then, we got the overlays and that we talked about at the front of the show.
Yeah. Something shows, yeah. Yeah. There's so much that they're listing. It's just sort of, I find it more interesting to look and figure out what they haven't put in. But yeah.
Yeah. And then finally, tokens. So you didn't include the token limits here. It's 10 1 hour, 4 12 hour, and 3 24 hour. So it's actually a small pack of tokens. You can only get 5 in a fraction days. It's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah. I would just wonder if that was a copy and paste, and maybe we'll see something different.
I don't know.
Because this doesn't sound like raid, tech store limits.
Yeah. I don't know.
But who knows?
Then you got other build tokens. I guess if you want to catch up on the monolith, I guess that makes it a little more valuable. The hull itself, right? If you can build it quicker.
Well, they also gave away and what a giveaway, but currently everybody can go out there that can and hit the what is it what's the one that's active for another couple hours?
Call to arms.
Call to arms, and go out and win 30 of them.
Yep.
And I got mine pretty much. I think I need to refit one more ship, and I got like 17 left.
Yeah, I've got some left. I refit to that new siege mortar.
Yeah, I have them all except for one, and like I said, and I still have 17 days left. I'm still gonna have like 12 days left over. So last chance. The first prize pack 1 and prize pack 2 are fairly easy if you're able to do the raid. Prize pack 3 gets a little tricky, but prize pack 1 and 2, 15 days, it's going to be easier and getting 30 million in the raid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of looking at the Zelos tokens. I built a Zelos with tokens like from a previous raid, and it's an okay FM tank. But now I see some people talking about ballistic builds of Zelos that are really effective in the FM, and they just blow them away with one. So I was thinking about if I have a lot of spare points, I might do that and refit, but
does
probably
anybody
not
remember
with all charged.
Does anybody remember if the Zelos token? I think they were significantly. I think they were significantly cheaper in the last.
Oh,
I think they were 1.75.
yeah, I think you're right.
1.5 in the last one. Because I bought 3 or 4 of them, and I don't think I would have bought them at 2.5.
Yeah. Pride tokens kind of pricey. VXP only, but still pricey for VXP tokens.
Yeah.
The Apollo tokens is pricey.
Yeah, the Pride. Well, yeah, 6 million for the Pride relative to the rest of them. Yeah. I'm not sure what they're trying to tell us on some of this on the pricing. Some of this stuff is like the cheap stuff they want you to get. I guess I'm not sure how it works.
Or cheap stuff they don't think is very valuable. I mean,
yeah, well, they're throwing the monolith underneath the bus with what we saw earlier. It's like the cheapest thing to get is the monolith, token. It's the monolith
maybe
blueprint itself. It feels more like they're trying to guide you into what to buy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, we done with tokens?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't bother putting the slide together for shards. They've been the same forever.
All right. Not worthwhile.
Yeah. I can't think of a one I would get. And the Ghost Crawler, which was probably what everybody was going for, is made
obsolete.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, with a UTW.
UTT?
UT.
Yeah.
Whatever, the sonar one.
Yeah. Next week they're coming out with the UTI, so everybody watch out.
Will Harvin's girlfriend.
Whatever. Oh, I'm gonna put Larry on mute, everybody. And Will is married.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I guess that's about it for the show. We're gonna post an after show and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Oh wow. We timed that pretty good. We're like down to the minute as far as
on 1 hour.
Yeah. Look at that. Whatever.
I take full credit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm going to post the link for the after show if anybody'd like to join us. And unless anybody hops on soon and has any questions that we really missed, I could rant about the charged armors and how upset I am as far as the fact that I don't think they listen to the community at all.
Yeah. The Zelo. Let's talk about the Zelos tokens.
I'm helping.
Hey Brian.
Hi Brian.
Actually, I do have a question. Does anyone know why Apollo tokens are 3 million and like the icebreaker is 2.75?
I'm assuming there was a dartboard involved and a bottle of tequila.
I guess like the prizes should be based more by tier than by type of tech. Even the ones that we're supposed to be needing in upcoming raids, like they said themselves, the Apollos aren't even going to be able to do A sets. So why are you putting these at 3 million a piece? Why is the whole 6 month like it's just completely misprioritized. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice if they. Yeah,
You know what they should do? Hull build time, right? Because the Apollo is still 4+ days for the hull. At least give us a break there.
Yeah, and we don't know as far as because they've done that before, where they'll release a new prize in one of these tech raid or hall raids, and then the next update they'll lower the build time dramatically, and that really changes the value as far as the number of points you're willing to spend on it. If they,
Oh,
that they
I got a
change the
Thorns
build time.
explanation on that. Oh, I guess next question. Are you sure there's no change on the generic ship build tokens? I know you mentioned it before, but that's the same as a normal raid, not a whole raid, and that makes it. I save 7 days tokens from the FM, and even if I got the Phoenix day 1, minute 1, I can't have 4 shells ready for VXP weekend without coining.
Right.
Important.
Right. You can have 3 without coining, looks
Yeah.
like. But if you save your FM, you get these, and you've got about a week.
Yeah,
You
slow
get-
time and the other tokens. It's 3, but not 4.
Yeah, I have 8 days. I rolled the dice.
Are you really basing? Are Kickside really basing it off that we're saving our tokens from the previous week?
I don't know,
Same-
but
same
I'll tell
last-
you what, man. If you're not doing that by now, that's on you.
Well, I am doing it. I have all my tokens from last week. I'm just saying, is Kickside basing it off that? Because a lot of people, there's still a lot of people that don't get a lot of token.
Well, yeah.
Tokens.
Yeah, and they're also not supposed to be basing targets off charged armor and yada yada yada. But they're
Millennium guns.
yeah.
You still bitter about Millennium Guns?
I'm a
When are
little
we
bit
gonna get-
like that is some bullshit. They even said it.
When are we gonna get the generalist assault?
I'm
Ship?
so glad that wasn't here. Oh man, I literally flipped the table already today. I was gonna flip another one. We got tables in it, the library. I had to help move and flip. Anyways, third question. I guess I'm going to make fun of Kicksai now. So, Doomwister in a recent post stated that, oh yeah, we'd really like to put these chromium overlay. We'd like to put those in players' hands if we can. Like somehow there was some mysterious force that Kicksai themselves could not do it. Magnetic fields, perhaps, maybe a Faraday cage preventing this sort of thing. And there's 6 million points in the raid. You just that's
Yeah.
way too much for this tech, especially now that you've driven the demand up by making them not utter dog shit. For today.
Yeah. Nobody can explain that one.
Tide goes
Well,
in, tide comes out. No one can explain it. Can't explain that.
I mean, that gets to what I was talking about before. Is their pricing? It seems a lot. Well, not completely, but a lot more on value than trying to guide you. Right.
On perceived
Well,
value too, I feel.
Well,
so
okay.
the monoliths are crap. I'm sure that's what I think. But those are at 3 million to get the monolith.
Right.
Like they're putting the stuff that players need, like the not icebreaker stuff for this raid cycle is actually really cheap. I wish the Harlech Citadel was in there, but that's just me. But the stuff that we need for the next raid cycle is expensive and exorbitantly so. Like the new foundry exists. You can just go research the Apollo, assuming you have the right tech. You could buy the right tech in the raid and then start researching the Apollo. It might not be done by month 1, but if you've got nothing else, just go ahead and do that, and you just save 6 million raid points.
Yep.
Huh. All right. We got Clay.
Oh, but I'll tell you what, man, you're not doing that.
Mute your YouTube. I almost made this mistake myself.
It's a good way to get kicked, Clay. That sounds like you're on it. Anyway.
Okay, yeah, got it.
All right. So is that your questions? Have we exhausted your questions?
Sure.
Okay.
I guess I'll do my thing about no dying and take breaks for your eyes and get up and walk around. That's still important.
Yeah. We
Okay.
can get missiles for the Zelos.
Get
Well,
the
we
new
mentioned
missiles.
there were no missiles for the Zelos.
The missile for the Zelos is the new missile because holy crap it's probably going to come out in the FM,
Yeah,
but I
that's
don't
what
think it's going to be as good as this missile. This
Will it
missile's
come out-
amazing.
Will it come out this FM or will it come out the next FM? Because the last time you get they've been coming out like the week after the first raid of the cycle.
The rocket was the second month.
Yeah,
Huh, that's interesting and terrifying.
the same
Well, you
thing
probably
with the what's it called, the siege
No,
raid.
wait. Well, there was that
You
first
probably have
siege
blades by
rocket.
now anyway, though.
The first siege rocket came out with the icebreaker, but then they had that other one, the V.
Yeah, no, I think he means
out late.
because there was like an Astro rocket or something that was
The
built
Astro-
specifically for
yeah,
that
generalists.
one. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, generalist. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
nobody ever used that,
And the
Because it came out too late.
and it was not.
Okay, it wasn't good.
And then the earth shake, no, not the earth shakers, the one that the generalist cannon came out
Quake.
after the Quake cannon came after the first siege raid.
Okay.
So
Fair
and
enough.
it seems like they're releasing the stuff after the first of the raid. So I'm just hoping they release stuff before the raid in the Forsaken mission.
Yeah.
So we can have it ready
Yeah.
for the next raid.
That would make
Please.
logical sense. So
So
thank you
no.
for trying, but it's not going to happen.
I mean,
All
I'm
right.
pleading to TXI, please, just bring it out, so people could actually use it.
Yeah, I mean, someone works on this stuff. How does he feel? Like, he designs this weapon, spends all this time tuning the stats, and spends no time testing it, and maybe gets somebody to draw the art, and then nobody uses it. How does that make the designer at Kixeye feel?
That is
I
true.
I feel really
Bad.
bad for the guy who made the D100S. Like, oh, this is fine, and then nobody used icebreakers raid 1 because they were bad, and then like sort of okay raid 2 was like, oh, here's something better. It's like, oh, actually, who made the chromium overlay the first time? Well, I guess no, who made the explosive overlay? Because that one was actually useless.
And it's still actually useless.
No, it's okay now. It affects buildings. I have it in my outpost. My sanitarium
Oh,
is
yeah, but-
somewhat protected from mortar fire, and I
Mortars?
can still go full offense on my center island. It's not completely useless. It was
All
before.
right.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot that they said the other day isn't coming true.
Nice accuracy based cannon with the slowdown effect.
Yeah, that's what it is.
No and no. All right. So we gonna end the show and keep chatting, or what?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hefe might have disappeared. So we won't end the show and keep chatting. Although I might take a
Maybe
break.
maybe he's waiting for us to say something incredibly like offensive or dumb like he used to, and then right as we say that, show's over.
I'm sure none of present company would say anything incredibly dumb.
No.
I'll hold.
Well, I'm just going to ask if it was time for me to speak.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
You got to laugh.
Yeah. All right.
as someone who uses that style of humor is like, oh, we like you, Mike. You're right.
he's just fishing for compliments. Jerk.
We've got a vaguely non-committal compliment from me, so there you go. That's
All right.
that's as much as you get.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to return this beer I rented. I'll be right back.
All right.
Wait, rented?
Rental beer.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a red box for beer? I missed the start of the show. I don't know. Like,
You never heard the term renting a beer?
Yeah. I've heard it.
renting
Yeah.
RENT.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, I've never heard that term before.
Because you only have the beer for about an hour or so, and then you pee it out.
Yeah.
Give it
Oh.
back.
These are, beer was around.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
I have learned something today.
Yeah.
Or something else.
Hey, if you have a hot date next week, sorry, I just rented this beer, and then walk out of the room. Ladies love that. Just so you know. So, is there anything else we need to talk about on the live stream? Or I could go to the after show. And anybody that's still out there in the community that wants to comment and try and figure out the meaning behind the picture with the Phoenix slide and the one for the ballistic special.
Oh, I like that one.
They didn't really come up in the show. And nobody that was in the pre-show where I explained it. Feel free, and you get free DPC points, which are redeemable for nothing. So, just to keep that in mind.
You can redeem them at Blockbuster.
Like them up.
Okay. Yeah. Roy Rogers, you get a free soda. I hope Roy Rogers doesn't exist anymore, does it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I've never seen it on any menu I've been at anywhere in the past 20 years.
Or any, okay. So I guess we can go to the official after show, and here we go.
Good night, everybody.
Right.
Good night, everybody.
Night, folks.